Welcome, my name is Colleen Tote and I'm a sewing specialist here at Fons & Porter. In this Quilting Quickly tutorial, I'm going to show you how to put together the bag called Bow Tie Tote Bag. If you'd like to purchase this pattern, you can visit our website and you can purchase it there. Okay, we've got the bag sitting here in front of me, and you can see that it is made out of 5-inch squares, and then we've added some fabric for the top border, the handles, and the bottom of the bag, and also the lining. So let's just jump right into the construction. What we're going to first do is we're going to work on those handles. So the handles are cut from the fabric that we've added to it, this turquoise. And follow your instructions for cutting the dimensions that are required for the handle. Now if you'd like to adjust the length of the handles, if you like your handles to be a little longer, this is the point where you're going to want to cut your piece a little longer and then figure that into your construction. But what we do is fold them in half, iron that, and get that center mark. And then you're going to go to the iron also and turn the outer edges toward the center till they meet. So you have what looks kind of like bias tape, like this. And then you're going to be taking pieces of interfacing. This is a woven fusible interfacing. It has kind of a bead feel to one side of it, and that's the piece that you would adhere to the inside of this handle. So you open it up and lay it in, and you're going to fuse it in place with an iron. And a lot of times when we make bags, the handles are the point where it breaks down. They get kind of crushed and soft and flexible, and they don't keep their stiffness. Now, if you really want to add a little bit more, you can actually add 2 layers of interfacing, one on top of the other here, and make the stability of those handles a more almost like a canvas kind of feel to them. So basically you just layer one on top of the other. That's a little tip you get from watching the tutorial here. And that way when you're finished, you'll actually have 4 layers of that stabilizer in there, because what you're going to do is once you iron those in place is you're going to fold this around and fold it once more, and that will make a really strong, stable handle for your bag. And I've got one here that is already done, and I've top stitched then about 1/4 inch from each side of that handle all the way across, so they're ready to go. Okay, we've got bag handles then constructed, so we can set those aside and continue with our construction. If you look at the portions of a bag here that have a little bit of piecing to them, what they are, they're created from a 5-inch square and then smaller squares that we're going to add a triangle to opposite or to one corner of each of the blocks. So what we're going to be doing is wanting just that triangle left behind on our block. So what we're going to do is take some of those and we're going to mark those diagonally, corner to corner. Use your favorite fabric marking tool and go just corner to corner so that you have a stitching line, so that when you then lay this square on top, you're going to be able to stitch from corner to corner across the block. And then once you stitch there, you're going to trim away the excess, and you will have blocks that look like this. And go through the pattern and make the number that's required, that the pattern calls for, and then you're going to arrange them for the front of your bag. Actually, front and back. It's the same front and back on this one. Let me move these out of the way so we can actually look at the piece then. The diagrams in your instructions show you, I'll kind of fold this over so it's not quite so large, that there is a small border that will end up at the top of edge of your bag. Then you've got this pieced section, making sure to arrange your little triangle pieces so they make that bow tie across the center of your bag. Then there's a large portion of the turquoise, which is going to become the bottom of your bag, and then you have another piecing section there. So this is going to be the whole outer shell of our outer portion of your bag. You're going to layer this with a piece of batting only, no backing, and you're going to quilt this however you desire to do. Spray-based is a great product that you can find at purchase at our website, and you can adhere this to the batting and then quilt it in any manner that you would like. Now it does have the instructions have you cut your batting a little larger than this portion so that the shrinkage and things as you're working on it, they're allowed for that. And then when you're done quilting, you go in and cut all the way around and trim the batting away. And this one has already been trimmed. You can see here on the back, it's a little easier to see, that's just quilted to a piece of batting. And then it's been trimmed, that extra batting's been trimmed away. And I've already begun the process of making the bag, but let's go through that process here. What we're going to be doing is using a 1/4 inch seam, we're going to close in both. We're laying it right sides together. You might want to double check to make sure that your seams where you put, say the bottom of the bag and your pieced portion, so that those line up so that seam will be pretty on the end of your bag. And you're going to just simply go in and make a 1/4 inch seam straight down each side of the bag. Now you can see that the other side of the bag isn't flat anymore. I've already boxed to that corner, but I wanted to be able to show you that it begins with a very simple seam, 1/4 inch down the side of the bag. And then pins just keep things in place. You don't need a lot of them, just so that it doesn't shift. And now what we're going to do is open this up, and we're going to create kind of an ear on the end. So that's where we're going to want to stitch and create the boxed corner that you can see down here. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this, folding it, and then I'm going to come in with a ruler. Instructions will tell you 3 inches from this outer tip over, you want to make a seam line. So we're going to take a simple ruler, and I'm going to find the 3-inch line, and I'm going to line that up with my triangle tip. And this ruler, square ruler, also has a diagonal on it, which is great because then it needs to be right along the fold of my bag. So as long as I have 3 inch there and that on the diagonal, I know that then this will be the place where I need to stitch. That marking pen isn't going to work quite as well. The best is a chalk liner. It makes a little thicker line, but it'll be a little easier for me to see. The sharp tips sometimes on our marking tools can drag across the batting and create more of a disaster than we want. So there, I've got a simple marking line across there that I need to stitch to create my boxed portion of my bag. So then I can, bring it in the chair. Then I can stitch across. Some people will come and stitch this twice, depending on how heavy duty your bag is going to be used. Most of mine don't carry too heavy of items, but if you'd like to double secure that, you can stitch across it twice. Remember, we don't do a lot of back stitching, but here you'll want to back stitch at each end and tie off. And then we will take it out of the sewing machine. And once I've got that stitched, now you wouldn't be stitching with red, that's for your benefit. You would probably be stitching with a turquoise. You can trim away the excess, leaving about 1/4 inch of a seam allowance behind like that. So now we have the boxed corners for the outer portion of our bag. Now that part is prepared. What we need to prepare is our lining. So in the same manner that you did the outer portion of your bag, you're going to do the same thing with your lining. You're going to start with a large rectangle, and you're going to seam along each side, 1/4 inch seam, and you're going to create that boxed corner. Just for review, you can see that I've come in and drawn my line 3 inches from the point over, created that line where I'm going to create the boxed portion of the bag. I've got one that's already boxed and ready to go. Do note that when you're making your lining and you're sewing down those sides, the instructions do have you leave an opening along one side because that's where you're going to turn your bag. So we'll be back in just a moment, and I'll show you how to layer the pieces together to make sure that your handles are proportioned properly. Okay, now that we're back and we've got our bag assembled, I wanted to show you that we had the outer portion of our bag, the lining. I placed the handles down in between. I measured 6 inches from the side seam over to where the handle placement needed to be. And then about the turning, because that's the fun part. The turning, remember we left the side seam open, so all we need to do is reach in and grab the portion of our bag and begin the turning process. Now it seems like it's going to be impossible to get all of it through that hole, but it will work. Just a little bit at a time, work our way to get the entire bag turned inside out. This way we don't have to worry about seeing much of our little hidden seam will be on the inside when we're finished with our bag. The handles are coming through now, and then we can flip the rest of the lining inside out, kind of like turning a pillow. Okay, and then we want to make sure we put the lining inside the bag. So you're gonna be going back later at some point. You'll want to come back, just want to point out, and close that opening. You can close it by hand or by machine, and so that part is taken care of. We'll put the lining down into our bag. Kind of give it a snap so that it goes down. There we go. Slide it in, kind of matching up those boxed corners along the lower edge. And then when you're all finished, getting close to the end of it, you can come in, let's see, this one's nice. You can come in and edge stitch along the very impress the seam, nice and neat, and you can do an edge stitching about 1/4 inch all the way around the top edge of the bag to finish your bow tie tote bag. If you'd like to see more of our video tutorials, visit our website. Thanks for joining me today.